Hi guys. I should see a video here. Yes. Hello everybody to yet another stream. Today I will be checking out platforms for coding interview preparation. We will start in a few minutes. As I said in Codeforces, this week I'm planning three streams actually, including this one. Another one will be tomorrow and the third one on Friday. Hello Reddy. And thanks to Reddy, by the way, for making subtitles for one of my videos. I shall soon have... So for my main channel, Errichto, I announced that I'm willing to pay a few bucks for subtitles, for making captions for my videos. Previously I did that, and I think it's useful because some people indeed do use it. And it just takes a lot of time for me to do it. I would gladly outsource that, and I'm doing that starting from now. And Reddy is one of people that said he's willing to do it. Okay, I want to ping on Facebook and Twitter about the video. Watch my stream, checking out coding interview platforms. Coding interview platforms. Share now. Checking out. Hello Karim and hello Pranjal. Twitter. Okay, I've posted on Facebook, I can log out, Twitter, same, and I think we're good to go. Okay, I want to, because I'm, I guess, full-time educational currently, I want to see what platforms there are. For competitive programming, we have, for example, Codeforces. So what platforms are there for coding interviews? That is a big thing. There are more people preparing for that, I think, rather than just caring about competitive programming. One of free ones, I think, is InterviewBit. I want to see what materials they have. I don't have an account. I'm not affiliated in any way with none of those platforms. I just want to see for myself what they do. Practice. What's in it for you? InterviewBit courses programming. Yeah, so there's, I guess, when I hit practice here, oh, it's not the same thing. Courses, practice, programming. Okay, so this is, in practice we have several things, including system design and programming, and mock interviews. And I'm surprised that this is for free, because somebody has to conduct those interviews. And if I understand correctly, they gain some money by referring you to companies. Let's see, customized plan. We offer tailored action plan based on your current preparation and goals. Interview coverage. Get referred, select the best. No upfront payment. Pay us once you get a job, a payment plan of your choice. InterviewBit Academy. Here's something paid. A payment plan of your choice. What is 15L plus? I don't know what L stands for here. Salary package. I guess this is value in rupees. If you get 15 lakhs per annum, okay. 15 lakhs to USD. Okay, so 15 lakhs is $400. Where was it? Here. So here they say $400. Is it a salary jump? So this would mean 8. Oh, this is in thousands. Is it? No, it didn't translate correctly. $15 lakhs. I guess it's about this value. Okay, I'm not an expert here. I'd love to see more Code Forces contests being solved by you in the future. Think your approach on hard problems from scratch on PSUT contest was very informative for me and many others. Indian rupees equals 20,000 USD. So here they say about 20,000 USD jump. Okay, 20,000 per year, I guess. That's fine, but not amazing. I don't think it's good that they put here some numbers that they aren't easy for me to understand. So what is the pricing? $1.5L. So this was 20,000 USD. So 1L will be roughly 1,000 USD. Here they say 1,500 for the 6-month course. Okay, so something depending on how much you will be earning. %17% of that salary. Requires 3-hour daily commitment from you for the next 6 months. That's a lot. Okay, let's first check out the free part. That is here, practice and programming. Binary search, 2 pointers. Let's see how they explain binary search. Begins by comparing the middle element of the list with the largest element. What? With the target element. If the target value matches the middle element, its position in the list is returned. If it does not match, the list is divided into 2 halves. Oh, they didn't say what binary search does. The first half consists of those elements, the second half consists of those elements, but the binary search is about just going to 1 half. Binary search implementations and common errors. C++. Start, ending, while start smaller equal ending. Mid is that. If this is target, return mid. Else that, else that. Okay, but What if they ask you for the first element non-smaller than something, like implementing lower bound? This will stop working. Rotated array. Suppose a sorted array A is rotated at some pivot unknown to you beforehand. Find the minimum element. I don't want to watch videos now. Maybe I should. What else they have? Linked lists, backtracking, hashing, tree greedy, dynamic programming. Introduction. They have some example where we add 8 ones, then we add extra one, and somebody immediately knows that it's a 9. This is the essence of dynamic programming. Example problem. Fibonacci. Fibonacci isn't enough. It's a very easy example. They have a lot of problems. Do they explain how to solve them? Weights, largest area of rectangle with permutations. Average time taken to solve this problem is 61 minutes. That's a lot. All of those have average time of 1 hour. Given a binary grid, most of the videos there are from MyCodeSchool. Looks like some very old channel. Last thing was 2 years ago. Introduction to pointers, working with pointers. About. MyCodeSchool is an educational initiative. Our aim is to present some core concepts of computer programming through illustrated examples and creative teaching techniques. Visit mycodeschool.com. Bad gateway. Nice article on how to ace a coding interview. What a colossal mistake that was. Struggling in front of the whiteboard, blah blah. Portion of the interviews will be extremely technical, revolving around theory, algorithms, blah blah. I can't stress enough the value of studying for the interview. How long do I need to prepare? At least for 6 weeks, for 2-3 hours a day. The basics. What to study? Trees, especially binary search trees. Trees, again, big O notation, hash tables. Object-oriented design, system design, algorithms. I don't think binary search trees are that important currently, nowadays. Big O notation, hash tables. It's good to be able to use hash tables. That's quite easy to do. BFS, DFS, binary search, merge sort, and quick sort. I would say some string parsing is important, easy dynamic programming, binary search. In every interview I've been through with any team, product group or company, I've gotten a BST question, every single one. When is this article from? 2014. Arrays, recursion, linked lists, stacks, queues, bit manipulation. Pick a particular area, increasing the difficulty as you go, and try to solve 2-3 coding questions per day. There is one issue with this. It's also true for competitive programming preparation. If you focus on some area, like he said, pick a particular area, increasing the difficulty as you go, and try to solve 2-3 coding questions per day. If you focus, for example, on, I don't know, flows, or if you focus on BST, when you read the next problem that you took from the list of problems on BST, you know that it should be on BST. And sometimes a tricky part is to come up with the fact that you should use that trick, technique, algorithm. When you read a problem, either during coding interview or during a contest, the problem will not tell you that it should be solved greedily or it should use dynamic programming. I think for starters, when you learn about a new thing, it's good to solve several problems on that. If the topic is very big, then maybe more than several problems, but then you should get back, in my opinion, to solving random problems on your difficulty, something that is quite hard for you but doable, instead of still doing one topic, because you spoil the part where you need to first guess the topic to then think about a solution for that. Dedicate one day to reviewing that week's questions and study topics. Fine. By the way, I do recommend using your time in traffic, I don't know, mainly in traffic, for solving problems too. So read the problem in advance and then think about it, I don't know, while taking a shower or while going to work, school. It saves time instead of just sitting in the evening and then spending 3 hours. The night before interview, I'm not very interested in that. Day of the interview. Always solve the problem. Okay, that's interesting. MyCodeSchool was founded by Animesh Nayan and Harsha Suryanarayana, humbleful, on top coder. I guess after the unfortunate demise of Harsha, they must have stopped the MyCodeSchool channel. Okay, that's sad. So I know that Humbleful was a very, very strong competitive programmer from India, and I think he died in a traffic accident. Top Coder has, I think, now yearly a round dedicated to his memory. And then it makes sense that, well, the channel stopped producing new content, and that's a pity. Okay, there are videos like 200,000 views on average. I guess just random stuff. Merge sort algorithm, insertion sort algorithm, bubble sort. I didn't know any videos like that. For example, just insertion sort algorithm, because there's plenty of materials on stuff like that in the internet, including videos. So far, I mainly tried just recent problems from contests or coding interviews. Reverse a linked list, several methods. I didn't try to teach C++ or any other language, and I didn't try to teach basic algorithms. What would be quite easy, I guess, but not so interesting. How to improve DP section for interview, the one from InterviewBit, or what? Like if you're asking how to prepare, solve interview problems on dynamic programming. I said that it's better to solve a lot of problems for one topic. I think dynamic programming is an exception because it's so big of a topic that you need to solve tens of problems to get some grasp of that. If you want to be able to solve hard problems, I think people should switch to iterative method instead of recursive one with memoization. And maybe a good idea would be to, in platforms like Codeforces, when you solve problems, then read codes of other people and see how they did that. I did one long stream on dynamic programming. It was called @Coder Dynamic Programming Contest, and you can see how I approach those problems. What to do if you're stuck? Always solve the problem algorithmically first. If your algorithm is solid coding, it will be easy. I disagree. People don't always know how to code well. If you get stuck on coding, code your skeleton functions and get the null check termination clauses and other test cases out of the way to start getting code flowing in the right direction, or at least getting some code on the whiteboard. Collaborate with others. It sure beats staring at the whiteboard in silence. Additional pointers. Not important for me. Show confidence for their interview. I love the advice, also dating advice, like be confident. But how to do it? I guess it's important to practice a lot, not only to be better in problems, but also because then you're less stressed. If you know you are quite good in what you're interviewing for, then you will be more confident by default. Other than that, maybe it's about experience. The more you do something, the better you are in that. That's true for contests. Beginners tend to stress, maybe during on-sites, maybe during just any round. After some time and years of competing, it becomes something ordinary to go to an on-site, and there isn't that much stress. Treat this as a situation where you are meeting new people and making some new friends with some fun challenges thrown in the mix, not a do-or-die pressure cooker. I don't know that expression, but meeting new people. It's good if you already talk with friends about different problems, if you solve those problems together. Maybe ICPC team contests are a good practice for that. Then you're used to think about problems together and talk about them. If you have one bad interview round, shake it off immediately. Easier said than done. Put it in the back of your mind and absolutely kill the others. It is very, very rare that candidates go through the entire interview process having aced every single session. That's a good advice. This, I think, should be given as an advice. Nobody excels everything. Your higher decision will depend on the data points from everyone you interview with, which is why you'll have multiple coding sessions. One sub per session won't necessarily sink you. Study guides. Books cracking the coding interview. I must eventually read that. I scrolled through some parts time ago. I guess Maybe there is a copy of that book in my university. Interactive learning, MyCodeSchool. One of the best resources I have found that comprehensively covers data structures. Udemy. This costs like $10, 13. Introduction to data structures and algorithms in Java. Euclid algorithm, mobile source algorithm. Is there no dynamic programming? Yep, there is no. Maybe I should go to LeetCode and see what is the percentage of topics being asked. Online training, LeetCode with over 130 questions. They have over 1000. Useful sites, Geeks for Geeks, Career Cup. Never out of practice. Hello, Mislav. Good comment. I don't like that book. It has a suboptimal solution for 1D rain trapping. I don't know what that is, but yeah, cracking the coding interview isn't for pros. I'm sure about that. And I remember seeing some mistakes in older versions of cracking the coding interview. I didn't touch it for the last, I don't know, year, so I don't know about the current version. I know it's a huge book. And so maybe it is the most comprehensive. If that's the word, comprehensive. Yeah, comprehensive. Can you solve this in linear time constant space? Let's see. Trapping rainwater. Given n non-negative integers representing an elevation map where the width of each bar is 1, compute how much water it is able to trap after raining. Can I modify the array from the input? If I can, then I can do it in linear time and constant extra space. If I can't modify the input, then I'm not sure. I would have to think. Cracking the coding gives linear time and space. So can I modify the input or not? Because here the statement said that we're given those black columns and somebody puts water there, and the question is how much water there will be trapped, and I would think about it this way. For every column, to know how much water will be there, I would think what is the limit on the left and right. Like for this column, for example, I know the highest column on the right is this one with height 3. The highest one on the left is this one with height 2. So I have some limit on the left, some limit on the right. I will know that the water will be up to this level. It will pour to the left by this one. So like for column I, it's the amount of water there. Actually the new height will be like minimum of max to the left and max to the right. But parameter isn't given as const, so I guess it's fair game. Hard to say. Like during interview, you could ask your interviewer whether you can modify the input. Here we don't have a constant indeed, so I could modify the height. Then how I would implement that? I wanted to once go from left to right and once from right to left. My first thought would be to, can I make it bigger? Not this way. There was an option to make font bigger. Editor settings, font size. Oh. If I do it like that, height of I is maximum of itself and the previous height, then it's bad because I lose some values. For this column of size 3, I put everything to the right to be free as well. That's not I wanted to achieve. I could find the maximum, then split to left and right part, but I don't want. So I could sort columns from biggest one to smallest one, but it would be hard to. It would be n log n already. Let me think. You don't lose values. I do not. I think I do. It was right approach for linear time and space. Yeah, I mean for linear space I could copy that, and I'm now just thinking about constant space. For linear one, I would just create two arrays, one for prefix max, one for suffix max, each of size n, and that's enough. I would compute them and then find the sum over like pref max of I minus 1. Of course we need to take care of I equal to 0, soft max of I plus 1. This is the total new area. I'm now thinking about constant space. Okay, I think I got it. Find the, so let x be index of tallest column, if there are ties any of them, then so I have that tallest column. Then for each other thing I have left part and right part. For everything on the left from the tallest column, I will know that to the right the maximum is 3, and actually like in this formula, for every I to the left of x, this does not matter because this is maximum in the whole column, in the whole array, so this is smaller or equal to. So I care only about prefix max on the left and only about suffix max on the right. N log n. This is not n log n. I can even code that. Let me sign in. Sign in. Do I have an account? I do. So let's find that special x. First, height size. That's a cool problem, by the way. And it's a pity that in competitive programming we usually can't have problems like that, where they distinguish between constant space and linear space. For I is 1, I up to n plus I, if height of I greater than height of x, x is I. Now x is the tallest column. For everything on the left, I take care, I need prefix max. So pref max I initialize with 0. For everything up to x, pref max is max of pref max and height of I. Answer plus equal pref max. So like for this column, I only take care. I only need to know the maximum so far, so 2. Then suf max is 0 for n minus 1 up to x. Here I'd say up to, not including x because I counted x here. Suf max is max of suf max and height of I. Answer plus equal suf max. Return answer. And one last detail is I computed the whole area of a thing at the end, but I need to subtract the black area for everything in height. Answer minus equal A. Run code. Should be 6 for the input answer. Not created. Int answer is 0. I guess because they want int, I can use int. They didn't give constraints. Submit. What is that sound? This is from outside. Somebody cuts trees, I think. Runtime error. What did I do? Line 933, good line. Runtime error, reference binding to null pointer of type value type. What? I iterate over vector and they don't allow me to? It's about this line? Let's change that. For everything up to n, answer minus equal height of I. Run code. Reference binding to null pointer. I don't get it. Run code. So I don't see how that was my mistake. Still the same thing. Oh, they have okay. They have a empty array, so that wasn't that I didn't understand it correctly. The array apparently can be empty, what is quite stupid. Given n non-negative integers representing an elevation map, where the width of each bar is 1, compute how much water it is able to trap after raining. Okay, that's the case if they don't give constraints. If n is 0, return 0. Submit. Accepted. Okay, so it's in the second for loop you get 0 of index. Yeah, here, right here. Nice. Faster than 99.65%. Because I have constant space, I don't create anything extra. Hello, Dark Knight. Discuss. Okay, LeetCode is one of maybe the biggest platform for practicing coding interviews. That's a very long code. Mine is shorter, right? Description, solution. I think mine is shorter. Maybe not there. What I'm looking at. I wanted to look at discussion in that first comment. LeetCode has a strange system where we should go to discussion forum and see solutions or not. I'm not sure how it's optimal to practice with LeetCode. Can you take my code versus accounted self contest with it, please? No, I can't. I want to be master, please. Practice. My idea was to use two-pointer approach and increase left or decrease right pointer whenever needed. Okay, to know that the water will be trapped on some level between two columns. Is that a good understanding? Dynamic programming. Using stacks. Using two pointers. That's a short solution. Well, maybe not so short because everything is packed into one line. I think nobody here described, so the editorial didn't describe my solution, where I find the biggest value and then do something with that. I'm quite proud of this approach. The water trap depends upon the left max and similar case if that. So we can say that if there is a larger bar at one end, say right, we are assured that the water trap will be dependent on the height of bar in current direction from left to right. As soon as we find the bar at the other end, right is smaller, we start iterating in the opposite direction. Now, this is similar to my method, just more complicated because of two pointers, I would say. Okay. LeetCode offers some mock interviews. Okay, I guess this isn't mock interview, this is a phone interview. Start. Okay, this is just a random problem. It takes n steps to reach to the top. Each time you can either climb one or two steps. In how many distinct ways can you climb to the top? This problem should be called Fibonacci. I have no idea how to solve it. I have 90 minutes left. Question 2. Given a non-negative integer num, repeatedly all its digits until the result has only one digit. Could you do it without any loop recursion in constant time? I don't think I can. Could you do it without any loop recursion of one runtime? You can't get a job in tech company then lol. Yeah. Could you do it without any loop recursion in of one runtime? The answer is n modulo 9. Whoa! Is it? It isn't true for n equal to 9. Because then the answer is not 0. That question was diff 2a on code forces. I remember from educational round. Okay, thanks. But how to distinguish between 0 and 9? I understand that the value, there is a way to compute quickly in your memory value of x modulo 9. This is sum of digits of x modulo 9. So we can compute the answer modulo 9. But how to distinguish between 0 and 9? Oh, it will always be 9. Never 0. Unless number is 0, non-negative integer. So I will say return num is 0, then 0, otherwise num minus 1 modulo 9 plus 1. I don't need brackets actually. Yeah, that should, for 9, it should be 9. Okay, submit. Okay, passed. That was tricky. I don't know if I would get that in like 10 minutes. Maybe by working through some examples. Maybe actually you shouldn't have spoiled that to me, Space Clones. Interesting. Okay, what if should I solve this as well? Okay. Answer is A is 0, A is 0, B is 1, while N, C is A plus B, A is B, B is C, return B. Run code. Time limit exceeded, oh no, while N minus minus. It's very easy here to make some plus minus mistake. Let's submit. I want to see what happens when I exit session. You have finished this mock interview. You may see your personalized interview report by clicking on finish session. Click cancel if you wish to continue working on problems. Finish session, please. Thanks for trying mock interview. Earn 100 lead coins by completing a quick 2-minute survey. Yes, please. What is your current employment status? Unemployed. What companies are you interviewing with and what stages are you at them? No. Resume sent. How to say nothing? Google owns YouTube, right? So I should say Google. Submit. Yeah, 100 lead coins. What can I buy for 100 lead coins? Store redeem. I can get 1/60 of t-shirt. Earn. Contribute a question, contribute a test case. Okay. I think, by the way, that LeetCode is very smart with these lead coins. It looks fine to me. That you get some small amount of coins for contributing something, for doing whatever, and you can get small prizes and like maybe t-shirts if you work a lot. That's completely fine by me, and I like that, in case you wonder. Of course, I'm not going to use that 100 lead coins. AddDigits had 1101 test cases. Are they crazy? What do they check? I've never seen. Maybe they don't need to run my program 1000 times because LeetCode is stupid in this way. You can't use global arrays or static variables without setting them to 0 each time, because they will run your function multiple times in the same program. What has some disadvantages? Random set. Do I learn anything? Email me when my report is ready. Okay, that's not eventful. Do phone interview problems differ much from the on-site ones? Maybe I think phone interview problems shouldn't require a lot of work with whiteboard, with drawings, because you should be able to describe them through by phone. I had medium on the phone interview, easy to hard on on-site. Was the on-site less stressful compared to the phone one for you? I'm sure that depends on the person. For me, I think I would prefer any on-sites, because for phone interviews was on-site less stressful. So for us, the on-site was less stressful. No, on-site was much more stressful and tiring. Okay. For me, it would be different, because I'm used to spending a lot of time next to whiteboard. I'm used to spending many hours, consecutive hours on programming or thinking. There are even 24-hour competitions, and I competed in some. While by phone, there can be some misunderstandings. You don't see the other person. You have to just talk. For non-native speaker, it's harder to talk by phone rather than in person. I'm afraid that sometimes they would misunderstand me. Typing on the phone. What? Do you have to type on the phone? I don't believe that. I thought that it's lol, if you think you don't have the non-native not clear problem on site. Lol, if you think you don't have the non-native not clear problem on site. Yeah, but then you can talk with someone there is next to me. I can say, okay, do you mean this? You know, this is something that is not well explained for me. No, like, it's better. You can show, you can write and talk about what is written. It's easy to you to pass top tech companies. If you're talking to me, then likely it is easy for me to pass algo interviews. Not necessary to get a job. It's not just about knowing algorithms. Okay, LeetCode takes $40 per month. Okay, they just say that $35 per month or $160 yearly. If you want to train for 2 months, 3 months, then monthly, otherwise yearly. What do you get? You get access to premium articles, because that's the main thing. Plus, you see what companies asked what questions. I'm just taking random problem. Companies, yeah, subscribe to see what companies asked that question. This is, I guess, just an image, yeah. I wonder how many people use the premium service. I guess that a lot. This is a big platform. Still, I'm sure they spend a lot of money because a lot of people use their platform for free, not paying. Yeah, because of that they are big and well known. How many problems do they have? My thoughts about LeetCode are that 1050. My thoughts are that their early problems are not well stated often. You have to guess something. Maybe n is 0, maybe not. If you don't have interaction with interviewer where you can ask about details, it's stupid that there are no constraints. I see a problem, I can do it in n square time. Should I do it or not? Should I implement it or not? I think that's stupid. Plus, they show you that you are faster than X% of people, and I think because of that, people will try to squeeze their code, to squeeze the running time, without understanding it much. I don't think it's a good thing to do. Their new problems are just, I think, standard contest problems. Here's something implementation. Let's see something hard from a recent contest. Easy, hard. Longest duplicate substring. And there are constraints. S length is between 2 and 100,000. S consists of lowercase English letters. I think you need to put those constraints if you have a problem where you can't ask additional questions. Can n be 0? Can n be 1? Can n be 1 billion? Given a string S, consider all duplicated substrings, continuous substrings of S that occur 2 or more times. Return any duplicated substring that has the longest possible length. Okay, I would solve that with hashes, or not with hashes. Actually, maybe it's not that easy. Output on no, wait a moment. I don't know. No, I don't understand the example. Duplicated substrings. Substrings of S that occur 2 or more times. Oh, okay. We can use 2 pointers or binary search, and that hashes with that. For every starting position, I want to know how far to the right I can go to still have some. Or do we need suffix array? Suffix array would be enough here to just because then there is something like LCP array, string LCP array. What is it? Longest common prefix of 2 suffixes. And the maximum value in LCP array would be our answer. But can I do it without that? With maybe hashes? I can use, I think that's called KMR algorithm. That is for every substring of size that is a power of 2, compute its hash, or it's even possible to avoid. It's even possible to avoid collisions completely with this approach. Then. I'm not sure we can go further with that. Solution. No solution for this question. Submissions discuss. An often approach with suffix automation. Rolling hash with pair hashes to reduce collision. How to do that? Oh, we can just first do binary search and then go through the string. I missed that. Then it's easy. So first binary search the answer and then go through the array, look for every substring of that size k that you binary search over, and see if some 2 strings are repeated. Fine. I think I can even answer a question. Why is plus mod needed? Show one reply. Okay. I don't like the fact that it's a platform to train for coding interviews and there are no solutions written down by organizers. And you need to rely on discussion forum. This is just lazy, I would say. On the other hand, you get that for free. So is it? Can we require something more? Can we demand? Do we have right to demand more from LeetCode? So this means solution, I guess. No, this means I need to subscribe to see the problem. Submissions discuss. What does this icon mean? Solution and here it redirects to subscribing. So I guess here there is a solution, but only if you have a premium plan. Premium. What are premium questions? There's like what? 164 of them. I mean, typing on computer while talking with headphones is easy. Yes, it is. Oh, I mean, that's standing straight for hours writing on board. I'm used to that. I teach in camps, in high school. That's fine by me. How to motivate yourself to solve LeetCode? Well, what is your motivation? If you want to get a job, then think about that job. If you want to get a job to, I don't know, support your family or to buy a new car or just to live nicely, then think about that, and that's your motivation. How to make contests with LeetCode problems? Are there tools that are same as VJudge? They hold contests weekly, and that's it. I don't compete in them because it's the middle of the night for me. Just solve random problems, I guess. If you take membership, then you will be able to see solutions. But solutions to only those problems with icons, right? Those 160 problems. Or do they have solutions for all the problems if I buy premium? Would you work for Google if they allow you to take part in any blah, 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 round during wartime and you don't have to work extra hours for the hours missed? Right now, no, I wouldn't. I think in all jobs I had so far, they would allow me to what you described, to just take a moment to compete in some round. Right now, I want to do something else that is, like, for example, this YouTube thing, organizing some workshops or camp. By the way, a reminder, if you are preparing for IOI and you want to go to Warsaw for 1 week in the first half of June, then write to me. We will organize some small workshops in English. Yeah, so I want to do other stuff. I started my own company. I'm doing YouTube, Twitch. That takes time. I want to prepare a Codeforces round soon. In June/July, I will be sometime in Saudi Arabia doing a programming camp there. And all of that I can do thanks to the fact that I don't have a standard full-time job. So right now I wouldn't take the Google job. Are there some boot camps for interview problems? I'm sure there are, but I don't know how good they are. So we have LeetCode. I'm also aware about InterviewCake. That is, when I first heard about it, there are like, I don't know, 50 problems, and a cool thing about it, where is some example hard problem. Cool thing about it is that they have a lot of hints. Here's their like flagship problem. There is the statement, and then do you have an answer? Tell me more. Tell me more. They give you a lot of hints. On one hand, it's cool and unique. On the other hand, for me, it would be too much. I don't think they are that well produced. I'm not sure because I only look at like 3 problems. When I first learned about them, I was surprised by the price. The price is for 1 month 150, for 1 year 250. So I guess everybody buys that. This is some like decoy tier, I guess. So their product is 250. I thought it's a lot. Who would afford that? Who would pay for that? But the market is so huge, and there are a lot of people that fight for hundreds of thousands of dollars per year if they get a job. So I think it's reasonable. And yeah, so some bootcamps cost like several $1,000s. It wouldn't be affordable for almost anybody in Poland, but I understand that first of all, USA is their prices are just different, and the other thing is it's enough for them that one person in every like 100 will be able to afford that, and then for that person still he fights for thousands of dollars, tens of thousands of dollars at least in salary, so it makes sense to spend $1,000. We have InterviewCake. There's something that is quite new, that is AlgoExpert. I thought about doing something similar. Like half a year ago, I started thinking about it, and this would be very similar to what they have. They have what, 70 problems. Where are problems? View sample question. 70 problems. Problem, you can code it, and then you have a long video explanation with this, like somebody talks over that what happens here. What is I think a good product, and it costs like $70 purchase. Yeah, $70 or $25 per month. On LeetCode we have 1,000 problems, but on the other hand you don't know in what order and what to do. Stuff like AlgoExpert I think has, I want to see all questions. I think they just have the most basic and common problems. 3-number sum. I can guess the statement from the name. You're given a list of numbers and some target value. Find such 3 numbers in the list that they sum up to the target value. Then there is 4-number sum, 2-number sum. There should have 5-number sum here. And I guess that's fine. But on the other hand, they talk about problems, and I think there should be also some content between problems, talking about approaches in general to, for example, dynamic programming, seeing patterns. I didn't watch a lot of their videos, so I don't know how to review them. Maybe I will eventually buy all those courses and see which ones are good in my opinion. But on the other hand, if I ever want to do some course myself and sell it and like make it a product, then I would be biased here. I would say that everything else is worse, and everything else is worse. So there's AlgoExpert. I also know about InterviewCake that has, I think, bootcamps in USA, if I'm not mistaken, and it's very expensive. I think $5,000. For most of that, I think I would be able to produce something better, so like with preparation time. I think about myself as somebody quite smart that also already spent some time thinking about how to explain stuff. I think I'm getting better and better in teaching and explaining. And I think it's good to be, on one hand, it's good to be very good in algorithms, to be able to see all possible solutions and to think which one is best to explain to someone. On the other hand, maybe some things are just too easy for me and I will not understand well that one should spend a lot of time on something. When I teach also programming for beginners in Warsaw, like very beginners, and I've learned that for people binary search is quite hard at the beginning because there is a lot of +-1 stuff there, and next time I will know you shouldn't teach binary search in one of first few lessons if somebody didn't do any programming before that. So maybe there are easier algorithms. Maybe once somebody knows arrays, prefix sums are quite easy. but not binary search, because it's very easy to mess up, like rounding division by 2. Do you know about pram.com? Yeah, I heard about that. Can you send me one t-shirt? Why would I send you a t-shirt? I have a lot of t-shirts, by the way, and there are in Poland, also in Warsaw, there are, where is it? There are a lot of places where you can leave your old clothes, and they will be used or resold to help poor people. So here's Polish Red Cross Foundation, and I just put my old stuff there, or t-shirts from contests, wherever, that I don't want to use anymore, because I got tens of them every year, so that's easily too many of them. Maybe I should save some and just give to people, but it would require too much time. These days, this is advised in almost every coding channel in YouTube. AlgoExpert.io. Yes, this is what I talked about just now. It's indeed advertised a lot on the internet. What makes sense. I saw. Where is the website where some people describe their businesses and products? AlgoExpert interview description. I'm not sure what to Google. Product hunt? No. Indie hackers. Here we go. If you want to read more about their path to success, you can do it here. They describe their beginnings and what they do. What is their pricing? What is their revenue? Now they say they earn like $40,000 per month. I think. Where is it? Yeah, they spent They spent $10,000 per month in advertising. So of course they can have a lot of ads. If I thought about something similar many years ago, I think I would do that. Because while my YouTube is for free, but I would like to have some business that earns money in the future, and I think competitive programming isn't something on which you can earn a lot of money. So I will just keep creating free content around that. But coding interview is a big market. It's a bit potential for a business, some opportunity, and it's related to algorithms. I think I'm able to create good content on coding interviews. And this is partially why I'm researching now and seeing what other platforms do. Yeah. And maybe I will create something on my own eventually. And it's about then spending some time, some money to create everything, to hire some people, to polish the product, and then some money on advertising. I think if it can be sold in the internet, the prices are not that small. It's something that I should consider. Do I know about pram.com? Yes, I do know about it. I think it's free and it pairs you with other random person to mock interview each other. It's a cool thing, but you won't necessarily get good quality product. Your interviewer will be somebody random from the internet. You can here sign up for that. It's cool if you don't want to spend money and if you want to see what is the experience in some way. Mock coding interview. Interviewing.io. Here's another free product where I think your interviewers are from big companies, and potentially they will recruit you to that company. I'm not sure exactly how that works. If some of you do, then please tell me in the chat. So maybe this is better than prompt.com. Maybe it has disadvantages, like basically companies try to get you. But that's a good thing if you want to find a job. But maybe on the other hand, you sell your data a little bit. I don't know how it works exactly. So you are anonymous, and at the end you get an opportunity to reveal your identity and get a job. Next step is almost always announced. Okay, let's interview bit. Okay, I started with interview bit, and I wanted to see what they have. They have some, I think, what happens when you just say coding interview preparation. I think that they are one of first results. Interview bit is here, and it may be the first non-sponsored thing other than here some blogs. Preparing for a coding interview. What is it? Some random blog. Okay. Given a binary grid, find the area of the largest rectangle inside the grid such that all the cells inside the chosen rectangle should have one in them. You're allowed to permutate the columns matrix, that is, you can arrange each of the columns in any order in the final grid. I don't fully understand. So you can swap columns? I'm not sure if I follow this sentence. You can arrange each of the column in any order in the final grid. Arranging each of the column would mean, I think, arranging numbers in a column. Now, since we are allowed to permutate the columns of the given matrix, we can take column 1 and column 3 and make them neighbors. Sign up to solve blah blah. I don't think it's a good... Okay, this wasn't the first problem on dynamic program. This was one of many. But one of easy ones. How to do it? I can iterate over where the rectangle would be. It would take some rows. Then I would know which... I would need to count columns that have all those rows. Feels like I know that my rectangle will go through the first row and the second row. That would be n squared to iterate over that. Then I would count. This is not DP. It's quite hard to do the P if you don't know the order. So I'm sure I can do n cubic here. Can I do n square? I can go top bottom, and for every, when I add some level, for every length already, 1, 2, 3, and so on, I want to know how many columns there are with this length. It doesn't look like easy. 200 is smaller value than anything else here, so I guess they just mean a cubic solution. Okay, let me sign it up. Test your solution and tour. Solution discussion. So you can ask for help from community after you have read hints or submitted your solution at least once. I want hints. Okay, here are hints. Accessing this hint would reduce. Yes, please. This is exponential solution. Access hint. Let's say for each index that is ij pair, we store a value which corresponds to the number of consecutive cells having 1 as their value which are directly above that cell. Okay. Now once we have got this array, let's consider a row I. Each element of this row will have some count. Okay, I understand the solution. I'm sure I would solve it during a contest in 10 minutes. Maybe not sure, but I think so. But why is it in coding interview website as one of easy problems? It's like score 200. Other problems are harder? Doesn't make any sense for me if we want to learn dynamic programming. People don't know dynamic programming well. Here they, as example, like introduction, they gave what, Fibonacci numbers as example problem. That's ridiculous to me. What else they have? Practice programming and tour. No, thank you. Oh, do I need to log out? So now I can't access the website at all without putting my data? Select University College. None. Two, 3, 4, 5 isn't a correct year. So maybe they didn't know that somebody might not attend university or not have year of graduation. I don't like that. Okay, programming. Arrays. Later. Let's see. Graph. Introduction to graphs. Okay, that's a video. Properties of graphs. That's a video as well. Graph traversals. Path, blah blah blah. Those problems are very hard if looking at the time. Let's see the chat. What should I do when I read a Codeforces problem and I can't understand anything? Learn English? Or tell Codeforces organizers to learn English? What should we do when you can't understand anything? How do I answer that question? Hello, Jatin. I don't know how to answer your question, Mustafa. Maybe it's often about thinking logically and understanding problems in maybe learning some maths would be helpful here, because then you train your logical thinking and understanding also sentences that are sometimes complicated, where they define some stuff. Nobody would immediately be able to understand like problems also in maths in high school or university, but if you go year by year in maths, then eventually you understand that high level of definitions. Maybe it's similar here. Okay, what I want to do, I want to see, I'd like to know what are most common topics in coding interviews. Most common interview questions, like coding interview questions. I don't think it's something official, like official statistics. They just said BFS, DFS, Dijkstra. Longest common subsequence. Top 50 programming interview questions. How do you find the missing number in a given integer array of 1 to 100? How do you find the duplicate number on a given integer array? Here are some examples. Could you give me some tips for preparing to get gold in IOI? Solve problems from IOI and similar competitions. Go through IOI syllabus and make sure you know algorithms that are listed there. Practice solve problems from past IOI, COI, other Olympiads that are available online in English, Croatian Olympiad, Koki. This one, they have a lot of problems, often with solutions described. And I guess that's it. And here I assume that you are already close to that level. If you are a very beginner and you ask how to prepare to get gold in IOI, then it's a stupid question. When you start in football and you ask how to be Cristiano Ronaldo, it's a bad question. Just train. Does LeetCode have some statistics? Explore. Recursion sounds like something that is important to learn. Divide and conquer. Merge, sort an array, search it to the matrix. This is divide and conquer. Write an efficient algorithm that searches for a value in m times n matrix. This matrix has the following properties. Integers in each row are sorted, in each column are sorted. This is not divide and conquer, and not recursion either. I can do it in n plus m time. go to discuss when you like go between two diagonals, between two corners. Back to question. Okay, so I need to subscribe to get the description of a solution. I don't like the fact that it's in divide and conquer. And I can't read here. In this chapter, we will discuss a P something. Recursion to iteration. Conclusion. I used 44th last year. Okay, then it's a good question, and I think I answered it. What's your advice to choose questions to practice? How to filter questions? Which sites to practice questions from? Whatever, you can do it from Codeforces. Perfectly, they should have editorials, and you should be able to solve by sort by difficulty. Then choose difficulty that is proper for you. I feel a bit lost in this coding interview thing. What does LeetCode offer? They offer you 1000 problems, and if I didn't know much about algorithms, how I would use LeetCode? What do they say on the main website? I think that isn't the main website. The main website was something nice and fancy. LeetCode in Google. That's not a good thing to put. Oh, maybe because I'm logged in. Sign out. Okay, cool. New way to learn. LeetCode is the best platform to help you enhance your skills. Start exploring. Questions, community and contests. Companies and candidates. Developer. Made with love in San Francisco. Join our team. Content creator. Do you have a knack of explaining complex things in a fun and intuitive manner? If so, join our LeetCode content creator team. This is a remote position, part-time or full-time. Yeah. By the way, people sometimes in Codeforces ask what is a job that you can do if you are good in competitive programming, and I think this is a very good example. Assuming that you not only are good in algorithms, but you can write in English well. And then you also have to be able to explain stuff. Okay, so they have new way to learn. Start exploring. Okay, let's get started. Top questions from. Okay, if I want to train for like Google, then assuming that I don't know algorithms, then I will here click train for Google interview. Actually, it's locked. I need to buy premium. But let's say I want to practice from Uber is also locked. Almost everything is locked. But if I log in, will it be unlocked? No, it's at premium. Premium. Everything is premium. I think it's stupid to buy premium to do problems asked by that company that you are preparing for. This is my thought. Maybe I'm wrong, of course. But why is that my opinion? Because if you want to be good in those coding interview problems, you should learn something for them. If you want to be good, so there are several topics like dynamic programming, recursion, and so on. it isn't optimal for sure to just solve a bunch of random problems only because your company asked those. Your goal shouldn't be to try to get the same problem that you've already heard about, because you will get a bunch of problems. The on-site consists of several stages. There is some phone interview. Even if you pass everything, then during your job, it will turn out that you memorize some solutions. That's stupid. So I think get well prepared for Google interview or whatever. If it just consists of problems that were often asked in Google interviews, you shouldn't do that. What you should do is you should go through some lectures and problems that teach you a topic. If you aren't good in dynamic programming, or maybe you know just a little bit, then you need a course on dynamic programming, I think. And here there's something like Introduction to Algorithm Recursion 1. That's a cool thing. And it's not actually premium here. I think this is the important stuff. Recursion 1, 2, binary search. Binary tree. Let's learn about binary tree. Tree is a frequently used data structure to simulate hierarchical tree structure. I don't know this word, like how to pronounce that. Each node of the tree will have a root value and a list of references to other nodes, which are called child nodes. From graph view, a tree can also be defined as a directed acyclic graph. Binary tree, blah blah. Traverse tree. Okay, this is locked. Plus login. Okay, I can log in. Traverse tree introduction. But is it an introduction to binary tree traversal? Pre-order, in order. This isn't only for binary trees. I guess they are most common. Though there is something like trie, T-R-I-E, for strings, then it would be good to understand pre-order, traversal, and stuff like that for just any tree. Let's see here, some graphic. FBA DC in order, post order, cursive or iterative. Okay. Given a binary tree, return the pre-order traversal of its nodes values. That's something good to practice before coding interviews. And now is their solution. And this is locked. Okay. Here I think LeetCode is smart, and this is good thing to learn from. To practice, assuming that this is well written. Oh, here we have something for free. Introduction. Level order traversal. Okay, but answers are locked. Makes sense. I hope just that this answer article is well written. Then I do recommend doing that if you want to train. Back to chapter. Solve problems recursively. Conclusion. What is conclusion? In this chapter we are going to provide you more exercise to help you be more confident. Lowest common ancestor of a binary tree. Given a binary tree, find the lowest common ancestor, LCA, of two given nodes in the tree. In competitive programming, we would do that usually in logarithmic time after some pre-processing. Here, what do they mean? how I would, without extra space, how I would do it. Well, we must have linear space anyway, because I guess we'll go from the root to some children, and so on. So it's impossible to do in constant time. Maybe it is, but we can go randomly down. Maybe we will get that correct vertex, but we don't know how to go up. That's an interesting question. How to do that without any extra space? Can we do that linearly at all? Let's see what happens here. Okay, this guy tries to lowest common ancestor gets root and P and Q. Left, right, lowest common ancestor in root left of P and Q, in root right of P and Q. What is... Okay, this is linear. But it has linear space. The root asks each of its two children, hey, do you have P and Q in your subtree? So have you already found the LCA? If yes, I do nothing and I just return that or not. If left is null pointer, so if left didn't find anybody, then apparently right did. If both found something, then I'm the root. I'm the LCA. Okay, now the question that I have, can we do that in constant space? FireCode IO also does interview problem solving. Let's see it. But first I want to think about this problem. Does somebody say about constant space? If we have a link to a parent from each node, then we can get constant space. I think so. I'm here and there. I can once compute the depth of each of them, then move them to the same depth, and then move up until they are in the same vertex. That's fine, but we don't have links to parents here. We only have a link to left and right. If we go with recursion from the root, then going to the left and right children, we can pass a parent to them. But if you want to save the whole path, it is linear space. If it's a perfect binary tree, then height of the tree is logarithmic anyway, so it doesn't hurt us a lot. And the space would be logarithmic. But if it's a big chain, a line, then the complexity is quite bad. Let's think for a few more moments. Also, let me stretch a little bit and grab some water. Use bit sets. Okay, yeah. With bit sets, we are done here. Of one, yeah. I'm sure a lot of people here don't know about the bit sets. So this is just a running meme in code forces, that you can speed everything up with bit sets. That 99% of time doesn't make sense. But bit sets basically divide your running time by 32. If you apply them 2 times, then you have time divided by 1000. Apply it a few more times and you have O of 1. I don't think it will be possible to do in constant space. Let's think. Can I even... In constant space, can I even check if some value exists in a tree? I don't think so. Recursion is linear in space. So I don't think it's possible. How to find if some value exists in a tree? Those values don't have to be arranged in some special way, just like this tree. It's something mixed up. Okay, it doesn't look doable. Maybe we could use some tricks to modify the structure for a moment. Like when we are at some vertex 5, when we go to the right, for a moment we modified those pointers left and right. Left one I would save, and then right one I would change from going to 2 then to a parent, and then I would be able to get it back to what it was initially. I think I would cheat like that. So when I'm in A and I move to my, let's say, right child B, then I would change A right to my parent, like to parent of A, to save the parent, and then go to B, passing A as a parent. And this, so a function would be, not a function, it would be a loop. When I'm somewhere, then thanks to this, I know how to get back up. Plus, when I actually go back up, I can pass the child from which I came. So while going up from a vertex, exiting a vertex, I can restore this value that is lost. I think we could do it like that. Of course, this is a question that I only asked myself. Maybe it's impossible to do otherwise. Maybe even I'm wrong here. I just was curious. During CodeGem finals, did you found any standard algorithmic question? I don't know what you're asking about. Those problems weren't standard, I would say. No, it is not a BST. I know, it's not necessarily BST. Oh, you asked that, Mustafa. Yeah, it's not log of n because the height can be linear for any tree. Okay, somebody mentioned FireCode. Dopamine addict mentioned FireCode. Learning first approach to getting a 6-figure technology job. Coding interview prep done right. Word interview problems, smart practice, machine learning memory algorithms adapt to your skill and pick the most relevant interview questions for you to solve and master. That makes sense. Though machine learning, I guess, would need to learn from something. But from what this machine learning could learn? I don't think there is enough data to say what is a good learning order. Unless you take thousands or maybe millions of programmers, say in which order they solved problems and how they scored in their interviews. Features, testimonials, look. Okay, is it free? Is it not? I don't want to sign up before seeing what it has. Does it have what, 5 problems, 100 problems? What is it? When I create a website, I need to remember to say made with love in insert place. So wait for made in love with Warsaw. Smart practice. FireCode reviews. Reviews. Anyone with experience with FireCode? Use it a good bit and got a big 4 job after studying a month or so. Good primer for LeetCode. What does primer here mean? Like first choice or what? Elementary textbook that serves as an introduction to a subject or study. So first FireCode as introduction, then LeetCode. It's free and got about 50 questions. Are you associated with that platform, or did you use it, or what do you think about it? Got 5 levels and repetitive questions will be asked. Login. Prerequisite. Okay, thank you, Kurmar. Want to crack the coding interview? Let's get you started right. We'll calibrate FireCode's learning engine to match your current interview readiness. Please answer all questions as accurately as possible and know that it's okay to not know the answer to any of the following questions. Pick the language you're most comfortable with. C++. Are you comfortable with writing a C++ function to reverse a singly linked list? Not completely sure. Referring to the previous question, at a minimum, how many pointers or references would you need to reverse a singly linked list with iteration? Oh, that's hard. To reverse, I need a pointer to the next element. Then while I go, I will remember the previous one. But I need to pass that previous one. I'm not sure. I need to store, in each of n elements, I need to store just one thing. Can you comfortably write a function that searches for integer in a sorted array using binary search? Yes, easy. What would be the time complexity of a function that uses the binary search algorithm to check if an integer exists in a sorted array? Logan. Do you have experience working with templates? Not really. What's the worst case time complexity of traversing an unbalanced binary search tree? Well, worst case. Worst and best case of traversing any tree is O of n. Traversing an unbalanced binary search tree. So with balanced binary search tree, traversing it takes different time. Here's the last one. When does a destructor get invoked? When an object goes out of scope. Awesome. Based on your responses and the usage pattern of other users, will start you off at level 1. Our learning engine will get you to level 5 fast. Continue. Level 1. I think I'm not that good. Okay, so here are I see, how are they called? Affiliation links, where I guess the website owner earns if we buy one of those. That's fine. FireCode beta block. Nada, I've used it, okay. Level 1 has very easy questions. For interview questions, what do you think? How important is the linked list and trees implementation part using pointers? And how important is the logical algorithm? You should know both. You must be able to use pointers like to implement a tree, or to understand, given this template, implement something. And logical algorithmic part is necessary to solve a problem, to come up with a solution. So both are important. Java problem of the week. No, the last entry is from 2016. That's, I guess, at that website. At least at that blog. Start training. Hints can help you get unstuck. Pick and skip for later. Spice up your code with your favorite team and font. Debugging. Take notes. Run off until you get it right. Fibonacci numbers. I know this. Okay. No twins allowed. Write a function that takes an input string, str, and returns true if all the characters in the string are unique. Quick hint to get things rolling. So here they describe a solution. Okay, I guess this is a website where they prepared 50 problems with a hint for each and a solution being described. That's fine. They mention what they mention company by which this problem was asked. Palindrome tester, I know this. Insert a note at the front of a linked list. List note. Value, list note next. At the front. Use me, what is it? Okay. Now this. Find the number that appears once. Now this. BST validation. Yay, level 2. I'm amazing. See answer and skip. Give up. Okay. Save and continue. The website looks fine. I wonder if it's good that they, I guess you roughly follow some path of 50 problems. I think they indeed chose basic problems that are often used. So far, these are easy, common problems. I would like to quickly skip to something harder. Maybe I should have lied in the... maybe I should have been honest in those questions when I started an account to just get to big level quickly. Will the machine learning algorithm understand that I want to get to a big level? Even or odd? here we check if the given list has even size. I know this. Okay, this was asked previously and I marked see answer and skip. Anagrams. Okay, I don't want to continue anymore. The website looks fine. It's cool that there is something like that is free. I appreciate it completely. So this was FireCode.io. Maybe somebody else has some opinions on that. FireCode. Oh, I didn't want to do that. I clicked something. Some online courses can help with algorithms and data structures, but if you want to prepare solely for coding interviews, then I would start with FireCode.io. The guy says, do FireCode, then HackerRank challenges. HackerRank. Okay, HackerRank is focused on what? I guess cooperation with companies, plus it gives some opportunity for people to train. Code and get hire talent. Oh, I need to log in to see problems. Pricing. But this is pricing for companies. Yeah. For people, it's free. There are some websites that are just courses for people, for programmers, and there are some people that work together with some companies that want to hire. Login. I have an account here. I have 242 notifications. Maybe there are a lot of people following me. I don't see where that would be set. Okay, interview preparation kit. Yeah, I solved one problem. Array search, graphs, trees. Dynamic programming. I think this is too long. The statement here is too long. Usually problems aren't that complicated. Though here they say they describe an example. Maybe it should be split if this is just the statement. You can perform the following operation on the string A. Capitalize 0 or more of A's lowercase letters. Delete all of the remaining lowercase letters in A. Given two strings A and B, determine if it's possible to make A equal to B as described. If so, print yes on a new line, otherwise print no. Lengths up to 1000. I don't like the fact that here they say function description. Abbreviation has the following parameters: A, the string to modify, B, the string to match. A and B are defined here. The whole statement looks so long because of that. And here they have extra explanation. Then why do they explain here? The problem looks okay, by the way. Something standard in dynamic programming. Stacks and queues. There is blah blah % of companies test this subject. 70% of companies test arrays. 40%, 40. How did they get these numbers? Search 30%. String manipulation Sorting, dictionaries and hash maps. Sorting comparator. Too long statement. When I have streams like this one, I also don't want to do something with long statement, because then it's harder for people to see and understand what I'm working on. Arrays, New Year chaos. There are a number of people queued up, and each person wears a sticker indicating their initial position in the queue. Initial positions increment by 1, from 1 at the front of the line to n at the back. The person can bribe the person directly in front of them to swap positions. Decide you must know the minimum number of bribes that took place to get the queue into its current state. The statement says you're given what? I thought you're given a sequence, how many times you need to swap to neighboring values, but sometimes you print too chaotic. When? That is, it requires a person to have bribed more than 2 people. Where is... Okay, complete the function minimum bribes in the editor below. It must print an integer representing the minimum number of bribes necessary, or too chaotic if the end configuration is not possible. When is it not possible? Let me read the problem again. Okay, here it was 1 person can bribe at most 2 others. That they can move at most 2 times to the left. Without that, it would be just the number of inversions in the sequence. Inversions represent some pair of numbers where the bigger one is earlier in the sequence. Now we can do it greedily, and they guaranteed that there will be at most 2 n swaps. So I would just, maybe I would write a recursive function. For each person I would count how many times they bribed someone, and I would run it at every position, and to say if those 2 values are not sorted correctly, then swap, unless the person that goes earlier already bribed 2 people, then finish. And that's it. And they called that arrays. That's fine, but it's not an easy problem. Editorial. Observation. The number of people that the ith person bribed is equal to the number of people on the right of that person with value less than AI. I believe it. Linear time approach. We start from the end of array. If AI is not equal to I, then we know that the last element must have bribed and moved towards the left. So we know that it will be present either in position that or that. I think they use the fact that people can bribe at most 2 different people. I would be fine if they allowed up to 5 or 10. That's not something easy. Okay. Maybe I don't know well what is easy and what is not. Can you please solve hard questions from HackerRank? And why from HackerRank? Why do you think this is a better platform to solve problems from? I will sometimes have problem solving streams, but I don't know many people who often use HackerRank, so I don't feel a need to solve problems from there. I think it stopped having regular contests, so that's why it's no longer popular. It's getting darker, so let me turn some lights on. I'm so confused and lost in all of those platforms. I don't know what I would recommend to someone if they asked me now how they should study for coding interview. How to prepare. Try to solve as many challenges from this list as possible. If you're stuck, use the discussion and editorial sections for hints and solutions. Linked lists. Here they say linked lists are tested by 8% of companies. I think I saw those problems more times in the internet. I think more times than stacks and queues. Here I guess implement queue with 2 stacks. Largest rectangle. There are a number of buildings in a certain 2-dimensional landscape. Each building has a height. So there will be again some drawing with columns. First one with height h1, h2, h3, and so on. And we want to find the largest rectangle. Okay, I remember such a problem. I would do it with, I think, sorting buildings from smallest one and writing some recursion, I guess. Where is my OneNote? One moment. I'm not sure what I see right now. For some time I didn't stream on Windows. Okay, here we go. Where do I work at? Nowhere. I don't get why you would assume that I work at one of those companies, Microsoft, Google, Amazon, or Facebook. Amazon isn't among my friends, I think Amazon isn't popular at all, and they work at one of Microsoft, Google, and Facebook. I think in order, Google, most of my friends work in Google, then Facebook, then Microsoft. And I don't remember anybody working in Amazon. What I meant, how do I draw? How do I draw? Okay, here. When we have some columns, the solution I know for this problem is to find the smallest column, to first sort, and then look at the smallest column and say, okay, we can make a rectangle that has this height and the width will be everything. We consider that as a possible answer, and then we remove this column and we go recursively for the left part and the right part. And we need to be able to say what is the minimum in some part. The two approaches are either segment tree, to be able to, for an interval, say where is the minimum in this interval. The complexity will be n log n, or doing sorting values once, moving from smallest to biggest. Then you also need some extra structure to know if here this is the second smallest value, then you need to know where is the previous and the next smallest element. I would store that in a set in C++. And the complexity will be n log n from sorting and then from using the set. This is quite standard. I mean, I've met this problem more than once. In my head, every programming competitor dreams to work in one of these companies, also called the Big Four. That's not true. I assure you that this is not true. For example, some people work in startups, remember about that, or they want to create a startup, or they pursue university job and they teach or research. A lot of my friends do just research in university, they go for PhD. Comparison of coding interview platforms. 5 best platforms for blah 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 updated. CoderPad. CoderPad has some great reviews about its product, both on the company and programmer sites. They allow employees to share programming changes. So CoderPad, I think, is for collaboration between programmer. Yes, it's not to learn. Interviewing excessive. Okay. CoderByte. Yeah, I'm not looking for that. I'm looking for comparison of what coding interview preparation platforms. Of course, it's fine. Is there any place in the internet where somebody compares those without being sponsored? CodeSignal is a kind of an interview platform, but there's a lot of coding problems too. I think CodeSignal is like designed for companies, right? For developers. Practice, be prepared. I'm looking for more for something with tutorials rather than just problems. Challenge yourself with over 1,000 different coding tasks that range in difficulty. This is, the database is as big as LeetCode. But of course I need to sign up. Give me some comparison. Here somebody listed stuff. Intro to dynamic programming, coding interview preparation. This course. Okay, this is a bunch of affiliate links. Yeah, click link synergy. He's just advertising stuff to earn money. I don't have anything against that, but I would like to see somebody reviewing those. InterviewCake. So this is multi-million-dollar market and nobody compared to the websites so far. What does educative.io have? Rocking the coding interview. Patterns for coding questions. 140 lessons, that's a lot. $80. Who should take this course? Course overview, introduction, maximum subarray of size k. Okay, this is bunch of problems. Yep. Insert interval medium. Free sign up required to view this lesson. Subsets with duplicates. So this is like 100 problems done. What about the order of those problems? Does it make sense? What they have pattern, sliding window. Maximum subarray of size k. Smallest subarray with a given sum. Okay. The longest subarray with once after replacement. String anagrams. 2 pointers. Sliding window, 2 pointers. Fast and slow pointers. Fast and slow pointers. I don't know what that is. Unless it's about going with 1 pointer by 1 and with 1 pointer by 2. This method allows you to find the size of a cycle in constant space. Maybe it's a bit different. Doesn't matter, whatever. Merge intervals, cyclic sort, in-place reversal, 3 BFS, DFS, 2 heaps, subsets, binary search, top k elements. There are a lot of problems for top k elements. K closest points, k frequent numbers. Yeah, I think this course looks reasonable. If I'm really interested in that, should I just buy all of that and go through it? How much time would it take? 100 lessons times what? 10 minutes per lesson for me? 1400, 20 hours. Maybe it would be a bit faster if I rush through. I think Educative doesn't have videos. Those are text explanations. Okay, let me sign up. Or not. Okay, I'm fine without it. How do I get better? Let's cracking the coding interview. Let's read about the most most well-known book. 6th edition. How much does it cost? I don't think it's a lot. $26. Let me see how much does it cost in Poland. New Cracking the coding interview. It's like $40. Yeah, here it's $40 plus shipping, so a bit more than 40 in Poland. I'm not saying that's too expensive. What's inside? 190 programming interview questions ranging from the basics to the trickiest algorithm problems. Walkthrough of how to derive each solution so that you can learn how to get there yourself. Many people say that. Not in many cases it's indeed true that they don't just describe a solution. Hints on how to solve each of those problems. 5 proven strategies to tackle algorithmic questions. Extensive coverage of essential topics such as big O-time data structures, core algorithms. A behind the scenes look at how companies like Google and Facebook hire developers. Techniques to prepare for and ace the soft side of the interview. Behavioral questions. Maybe, by the way, I should remember to make the font bigger. Not all people watch me in 1080p. I will try to remember that. For interviewers and companies, blah blah blah. Authored by Gail Lackman McDowell, founder CEO of careercap.com, the author of 2 books. Google resume. She has worked for Google, Microsoft, Apple, and served on Google's hiring committee. Okay. Content. Full table of contents. I don't see it. The interview process. Why? How questions are selected? It's all relative. Frequently asked questions, behind the scenes, special situations, before the interview, behavioral questions, technical questions, the offer and beyond. Then chapter 9, interview questions, data structures. Implementing stack, implementing a queue, concepts and algorithms, bit manipulation by hand, bit facts and tricks, blah blah blah. Okay, and then I guess problems start. Sorting and searching, knowledge based, C and C++, Java, databases, front-end logs. Then solutions, data structures, concepts and algorithms, knowledge-based, additional review problems. Also here they are given, chapter 16 and 17, moderate and hard additional review problems. And then there is like 400 pages of solutions to everything. And that's the main part of the book. Advanced topics, code library, hints about the author. Okay, and what about the website? Hello Errichto, how do you handle data structure during coding competitions? I have no idea how I would answer you. What does it mean? How do I handle? It's like asking, I don't know, somebody playing football, how do you handle a ball? If you want to be good in insert topic, like here, what data structure, solve problems for data structure, learn them. Interview videos, what is it? Buy all. From $1 from $10. From $10. This is 2 minutes for $10. Oh no, this is, I guess, short version. Videos, mock interviews, resume review. Mock interviews. I guess this website is built around with some just products, like buying a mock interview. Have you ever been interviewed by Google or other big companies? How it was? I think I wasn't interviewed by any companies like Google and Facebook. I was asked several times if I want to. For example, when you go to Google Code Jam finals, then they ask you if you want to have on-sites as well for coding interview. But the alternative is to just to do some sightseeing. I was in USA for some days, so I preferred to visit a city rather than have an on-site interview. I didn't want a job, so I didn't have an interview. I've checked. No, I don't want. I have researched about what one should do to crack interview and talked with others about it. It is LeetCode, and I almost forgot LeetCode. Cracking the interview is not as up to date. How was your code jam round? It was fine. It was 14th. So if this was the last round, I would pass to the finals. But this was second round, so it was easy anyway. The next round will be hard, because now 1,000 people advanced to the next one, and then I think 25 only will advance to the finals. LeetCode is the most popular one. Source. I interviewed at 6 top companies in Silicon Valley in 6 days and stumbled into 6 job offers. Interesting title. I thought about trying to get an interview with some of the big companies just to see how it is, but I'm just worried that if it's apparent that I just want to do it to see how it is, not to get a job, then they will blacklist me. I don't want that to happen. All of the below is heavily inspired by this post from last year. Let's see the post from last year. I interviewed at 5 top companies in Silicon Valley in 5 days and luckily got 5 job offers. These are different companies: Facebook, Google, Okay, I see 3 that are common here and there, so I guess it's a different thing. Let's first read that from 2017. Is Tourist taking part in this code jam? I think so. Why wouldn't he? In particular, he just wins code jams, and it's a lot of money for him. It's $15,000 for winning. Where past rounds, view round, standings. Let's search for Tourist or Gennady Kortkevich. Yes, he's here, so he did participate. It isn't that important that he wasn't at the very top, because the problems were easier than in round 3, so the variance is quite bigger. I think it's bigger. I was 14th, Marek Sokolowski won. I wasted 7 unnecessary minutes in the first problem, debugging one line. Other than that, I was fine. Still, it took me 2 hours. For Marek, it took hour 25. He was much faster. Okay. And the round wasn't very good in my opinion. In particular, one problem has the mistake in the statement. I hope the next round will be better. Okay, I interviewed at 5 top companies in Silicon Valley in 5 days and luckily got 5 job offers. First, this is a more of a personal question. If you do not want to work for these companies, what do you want to do for the future? For now, I'm doing streams. I have a company, I'll teach programming, I might organize some camps, for example, workshops in Warsaw in June for IOI preparation. I might create a platform for coding interview preparation in the future, because there is, I think there's market in that, and I don't think that any of platforms that I've seen right now is perfect. Yeah, I organize competitions. I guess that's it. And camps, programming camps. So I guess educational stuff. In the 5 days, interviewed at blah blah and got all 5 job offers. I had been at Groupon for almost 3 years. Preparation. I needed to prepare for 3 different areas: coding, machine learning, and system design. Coding. I mainly used LeetCode and Geeks for practicing, but HackerRank and LeetCode are also good places. Spent several weeks. I did 2 problems per day. Practice a lot. Rather than doing 600 problems on LeetCode, cover all types and spend time understanding each problem thoroughly. I did around 70 problems in total. That was enough. Go for the hardest ones. If stuck over 2 hours, check out the solutions. After solving one problem, check out the solutions. Use a language that you are most familiar with and that is common enough to be easily explained to your interviewer. System design, I'm not interested in that. Machine learning, not interested in that. Interview process, and that's the process described. Negotiation. I found this article to be helpful. Be professional. Know your leverages, be genuinely interested in the teams and projects, keep your patience and confidence, be determined but polite, never lie. My failed interview with Databricks. Afterthoughts. Getting the job offer only means you meet the minimum requirements. There are no maximum requirements. Keep getting better. Okay, let's see the new post. I had 46 interviews in 73 days. That's a lot. The company's study plan. Let's read here. I think Errichto is not 9 to 5 job. I like to do, it's rather than time hours, I more care about doing something interesting. And you don't have that much flexibility in companies like Google. Now I can choose myself what I do. I'm not like, I don't have anything against 9 to 5. Even if I have a lot of things to do, I can work longer than that. It's more about doing various stuff, in my opinion. Plus, I actually like working with people, so that's a disadvantage of me right now working like not in an office with people. I like talking with people. I like not being alone in an apartment. Okay, get back to the article. Study plan. I was starting from a position where I could probably do most LeetCode easy problems in 30 minutes. I began first with cracking the coding interview. I moved on to elements of programming interviews. More difficult than cracking the coding interview. It is critical, in my opinion, to either whiteboard problems with someone or mock a phone interview with someone. I think that's very important. LeetCode is just about implementing something. If you don't have to explain it at all, it's bad. Maybe get a friend with whom you can mock interview. Lifelong learning team, contact us. Live mock interviews. Participate and trade live mock interviews with peers, divs, and recruiters. Ask questions and get answers. Is this free? Guess so. The key to preparing algorithm interviews is to get yourself to a point that you can figure out a problem during the interview. Not necessary to know how to do every problem. Almost all the questions I heard over my week of on-sites were new to me, yet similar to questions I'd seen. Lessons learned. Practice is almost everything. Practicing with a friend is everything else. It's a numbers game. Focus on the problem solving, not the solution. Memorization isn't enough, true. Don't get discouraged, don't be quick to disregard problems, don't underestimate the importance of behavioral questions. I'm not an expert in that. If you know more, show it. Don't strive to clear the bar, strive to set it. Whatever. Wrap up. This block was very good, but it doesn't say that cracking the coding interview is outdated. What is the prize money for second in CodeGem? I think $2,000. There is a huge gap. That's only that contest. I think also it's true for Facebook Hacker Cup. I don't remember Top Coder Open well. That first person gets nice money, like $10,000-15,000, then second person gets relatively nothing. In Google CodeGem it was 15 and then $2,000 and $1,000. First place is more than 7 times more than the second place. I think it should be more like, I don't know, price A, then A over 2 and A over 3. Okay, that was a cool block. Thank you, Lebop or Libop, for suggesting it. Do you plan to go to AdCoder finals? I don't think I will qualify, so no, I don't plan to go there. Okay, if you have guys similar stories to this one, I will gladly read them. Maybe I'll read comments. Thank you for sharing your perspective, blah blah. We ask if the companies used assessment tools like Codility or HackerRank while testing your coding skills, or was it more whiteboarding and or Skype? One company used a pre-phone screen online test, but all of them used Codility-style websites for the phone screens. One used Skype in conjunction with a Codility-style website. Okay, so you have some statement code and you're writing that. Why did Stripe reject you? It was probably 1/4 system design, 1/4 behavioral, a half data structures and algo. This encouraged me. Okay. Post it here. Did you party after getting second? After those big contests like Google Code Jam finals, they organize some after party, and it was, I maybe mistake Topcoder Open and Code Jam with each other, or Hacker Cup. One of them was in some game club when there was a bunch of consoles plus I think drinks, board games, when you can just talk and party with other participants. I didn't party crazily. How I negotiated, blah blah. It isn't that important to me how to do that. I'm more interested in the algorithmic part and how to learn and how platforms teach. You have offers plural. This can be 2 or this can be 10, but you need to have more than one offer concurrently. You're not afraid to negotiate. You won't practice the dark arts of negotiation. So don't lie. You want niche. What does it mean? Re-niche. What does it mean? Okay, to like withdrawal. You're willing to work at any of the companies if the price is right. I'm going to both anonymize the companies I negotiated with and fuzz their numbers. You're starting at square one before the offer. So this was wrong. The initial offers never sound GD. Again, I don't use some specific words in English. Okay. Make someone feel excited to the point of disorientation. Hello, Diablo. Welcome to the stream. Make it clear you won't accept an offer until you hear back from everyone. Counter offers. To me, there's an implication when giving a solid number that it's the one. If a company can hit your number, you've lost one on the chance to negotiate much more unless more offers come in. Some examples. My offers. Okay, that's a long article. I would have to be very interested in that to read the whole thing. My final offer. Takeaways: get multiple offers, don't lie, be kind and respectful, be selectively communicative, don't give a minimum unless it makes sense. Shoot for the sky, don't reject an offer until you've signed another one. Think a lot. Don't tell teams you're disinterested in them. Everything above worked. Okay. So this was recommended as something harder than cracking the coding interview. By the way, what are reviews of cracking the coding interview in Amazon? Amazon cracking the coding interview. This has 76% 5-star reviews, while this one has, I think, a lot more. But the magnitude of the number of reviews is similar. So maybe cracking the coding interview isn't that good. Looking at the reviews, this one looks better. The price is similar. Top critical review. And this book summarizes in concrete form how the White Tower side of these companies use this kind of subjective and realistic entrance exams to exclude perfectly capable people from their exclusive club. They refuse to standardize on a fair, independent, and common testing system as any other education or professional industry already do. That is a rant on the system, not the book. Somebody that rants about having a big experience but having to know some algorithms. I don't like that. So this doesn't mean that book is bad. It means the system is bad. He should here judge the book. Why give 1 star? Because you don't like how the world works. If you are to learn a new topic for competitive programming, which site do you visit? Please tell. It shouldn't matter to you. It should matter for you what you should visit and what site you should visit. So for you, it will be just Googling the topic and seeing some tutorial for that. That's it. Usually, if I want to read about some algorithm, I will also just Google that, or I will talk with friends about it. I can't say that I go to some go to some platform to read about it, like Codeforces, because they won't necessarily have that algorithm. There aren't a lot of materials on hard stuff. Perpetuates the insanity of programmer interviews. Resist if you can. As programming interview prep books go, this one is currently the most popular of the bunch. It's okay. In that you'll find material to practice for the whiteboard interviews that are prevalent at big tech companies. But let's be honest, this whole ecosystem is toxic. Here's a lady who worked for a few years at Google. That's right, she worked for a few years and only interned at those other big names she mentioned. And has parlayed that rather limited work experience into an entire lifestyle business, where she coaches his programmers on how to pass interviews. The interview prep industry has completely decoupled itself from the actual job of programming. That's true, but that's again rant on, other than complaining about her experience, it's rant on the system. You shouldn't, it's like, I don't know how to compare that to something else. But if this is the style of coding interviews, then there should be books and materials that prepare best for those coding interviews to get a good job. Complain to companies like Google if you don't like it. I don't see for now a single very bad review complaining about a book. Okay. From 2018, problem statements are sometimes incorrect or unclear. I've hit a few problems where you can't tell what the question actually is without looking at the solution, which I rather not to. Some are just plain wrongly worded. For example, page 181, question 16. Number swapper. Write a function to swap a number in place, that is without temporary variables. This looked to me like I need to swap the digits, perhaps. Yeah, swap a number in place. Swap two numbers, it should say. I need to swap the digits, perhaps around the center, but turned out to be classic swap two numbers. Note how the author says swap a number. Could just say blah. I agree. I need to log in. Never mind. Bought 2 editions because the 6th edition has more problems and is better organized. What the book is promoting, the current interview process is far from being perfect. The second reason for a star less is the lack of rigorousness. Some of the problems are presented unclear. I have to go to the solution part to figure out what a problem actually means. Some of the solutions are not straightforward. For example, there is a problem calls for topological sort. However, none of the solutions given uses BFS. Why? Some of the solutions have wrong analysis. For example, the subtree checking problem. One solution reduces the problem to checking for substrings. The Java method is string index of. The author claims the complexity is m plus n, which I believe for Java is actually mn. Yeah, that's sometimes those teachers aren't that good in algorithms or actual complexity. They make mistakes. For example, it's easy to think that if you use index of or something like that n times, that the complexity will be of n. Well, some functions inside are written in linear time, so the complexity will be quadratic. I don't like the fact that it's dangerous to learn from those materials then, because you will get something incorrect. Topic review sections weren't that useful. It's things that you probably know well already if you have CS training. The review problems are good and come with comprehensive solutions and explanations, but honestly there are tons of websites that will allow you to practice on many more problems. Book is fine. I've not been impressed. Throws so much information and contradiction to it that after the intro you just assume these interviews are impossible to pass. Low-minded, meaningless anecdotes that derail you from learning, tons of gaps where knowledge is assumed, and examples that more often confuse than help. How do we have a chapter dedicated to big O and don't explain what a constant or dominant term are? Not helpful for interviews at all in my experience. This is from 2019. Okay, and let's read a little bit about the other book. Super bad book binding. The book is not well printed. Some other bad reviews. So far 5 stars. Maybe I should get that book. Intentionally awful solutions are confusing. They work way too hard to invent incredibly creatively awful solutions to relatively simple problems in order to demonstrate iterative algorithm improvement, to the point that the initial solutions they give bear no relation to a reasonable solution and only serve to befuddle the reader. The authors are clearly non-native English speakers, and the text doesn't seem to have been proofread very carefully. Many grammar errors. Okay. that's fine. So this book looks like something very nice. Who do I know this guy? Adnat Aziz. I don't think so. Okay, what else? What about InterviewBeat reviews? What is your review of InterviewBeat? Interview is good, but it's not perfect. Heck, it's not even great. There's a reason it's still in beta. Is it still in beta? InterviewBeat, let's see. It doesn't look like beta anymore. The content you find on the site is almost universally found elsewhere on the internet. Think Geeks for Geeks, Top Coder, Oilers, cracking the coding interview. Only with better explanations, tutorials. But sure, there are only so many trivia-style interview questions, so I can't really blame them for being plagiarists. The videos, they don't work on the site, you need to navigate to YouTube. Yeah, that's inconvenient. The actual questions. It is recommended during an interview to clear all your doubts with the interviewer. Therefore, we do not provide all the test cases. What? Okay. Writes code and hits test. Code passes. Try out 3-5 random test cases for boundary values. They pass. Try out a 10-digit number. It passes because they asked int, right? Wrong. You screwed random shit up, and he won't tell you what went wrong where. This is a general thing with those problems online. I think they should have constraints because you can't ask about that. Interviews at top companies, especially whiteboards, do not focus on getting the perfect answer. They test you for your thought process, not for mugging up a bunch of answers and vomiting them. Makes sense. Glitched like there's no tomorrow. When is this posted? 2016, so maybe it's better now. HackerRank and Top Coder beat this by a fair margin. I don't think Top Coder is good now to practice, and will continue to do so till InterviewBeat does get good, or till someone sues them for copy-pasting CP questions from the internet. I don't think this is anybody's ownership. Maybe the best type of book to learn about coding interviews is to just forget about the interview itself and just learn the fundamentals of data structure and algorithms. Just like the way Errichto and tourists learned about data structure and algorithms, they simply like it and they don't take themselves too seriously about interviews. I think it's similar in sports. If you want to be good in something very particular, like, I don't know, marathon or 100 meters run, then you should train specifically for that. If there are courses and trainers that will help you with exactly that, then it's better than generally practice sports. Similar here. Knowing general fundamentals of data structures and algorithms is cool, but it's not that efficient. And often people that need that are people that are already adults, sometimes with a job. They don't have a lot of time. Most of good competitive programmers, like tourists, they learned very early, usually in school, when you have a lot of time. You can spend 10 hours a day if you want to, or 5 hours a day. People with job and family cannot do that, and because of that, they often, a lot of them want to be very efficient in that, because otherwise they won't find time. So I understand the need for platforms tailored for coding interviews. That being said, if somebody is young and has a lot of time, especially if he likes those problems, then I recommend just going to competitive programming and getting better in algorithms. Then you will also master coding interview questions like for free. I think it is one of the best platforms. Best way to prepare for a coding interview. The ultimate guide to preparing. LeetCode was mentioned. Cracking the coding interview. System design questions, behavioral. I would like to focus on algorithmic. Is the coding interview every time? I've read that, right? Yes, I did. How to prepare in 1 week? Be confident that you can prepare for the coding interview. Remove the word tough. Plan interview, choose. I don't think that top coder problems are good to prepare for coding interviews. Oh, Andre has answered. At CS Academy we started building lessons. Yeah, I saw them and they are reasonable. They have nice visualizations. Binary search. I think they are well written. Binary search and functions. 9 tips to prepare for coding interview in 1 week. I don't think it's a good idea to try to do that in 1 week. Introduction to Algorithms is a terrible book for coding interviews. I had a hard graph problem that you can't know if you haven't learned before. That happens. I don't know how to answer. Okay, what I have here, career cap. This was educative. What is it? Some ad, I guess. Okay. Then I guess people like LeetCode, though it's a bit chaotic. And cracking the coding interview. Problems. Explore. Explore maybe is a good thing to go, but I don't recommend doing like problems that appeared often in your company. That's not a good idea. You shouldn't rely on getting the same problem. Why it's terrible, bro? Any reason? The Introduction to Algorithms is a hard book that is for more for people that want to, I don't know, do research on algorithms, stuff like that. It doesn't focus at all on things needed for coding interviews. I think for coding interviews, you don't even have to know segment tree. And there is a lot of introduction to algorithms. So this is book by Carmen, right? Yeah. This is a very hard book with flows, stuff like that. You will never meet that in coding interviews. This is much too hard. And it's quite old, not very up to date, not very modern. Binary search. Template 1. Key attributes. Binary search is very tricky. C++, Java. I've seen something else a moment ago. Template 2. Template 3. Template 1 was most basic. While left smaller equal right. No, this is template 1. Okay. I think we should. It's indeed best to start with that. If middle element just plus left. Okay, if middle element is the one you're looking for, then return it. Otherwise, move left or right. Return -1. Template 3. Usually this can be used because we are looking for like the first element that is not smaller than something. Then we only can do those two ifs, like, without that. This is not the most I don't know a word. You will not be able to always use this method because search for a number in a sorted array is easier than search for the first number greater than something. Have you read it? Yes, most of it. I've read most of Introduction to Algorithms when I was in high school, but I didn't study for coding interviews. Do you know if all the companies explore one common set of problems? To me, it feels like a waste of time solving problems that are not going to be explored by one company, but will be explored by another. I will tell you how it works. They have internally, a company has internally some set of problems from which they choose for interviews, or interviewer can just give something on their own because he saw that in the internet or he thought about that twist to a problem. They do not like share or trade problems, but anyway, problems are very easy to invent. You want a problem, let's say I'm seeing a keyboard in front of me and there are keys. I see QWERTY layout. So maybe given two keys, say if they are adjacent in this keyboard, like whatever, or given a string, say if you can type it quickly, that means no two consecutive characters can be written with the same finger. Like Q, A, and Z are used with the same finger, the small one, and they can be adjacent in a string. Do you recommend Intro to Algo for CP? Not really. It is old and outdated. Read Competitive Programmer's Handbook. Template analysis. 1, 2, and 3. Okay, the template 2 here doesn't have that checking if something is equal to target. Template 2. But here it does. Usually I do second one. Yeah, I usually do the second template from here, but I just say mid is equal to left plus right over 2. I would recommend the first one as a starting point, to just say search for a number in an array. Then second one is if you need to do something harder, and that's it. Plus, usually you can just say mid is equal to left plus right over 2. The advantage of knowing these two, oh, here they said right is equal length instead of length minus 1. That's tricky. The disadvantage of knowing these two is that they are different. Here is smaller equal, here it's smaller. I think I would try to fix that a little bit. I would say that here we always start with length, we always say right is equal length minus 1. Here we always do smaller equal, and then we need extra if in the second version. You think that one should know every type of problem in order to excel at coding interviews, or are there mandatory data structure and algorithms that every interviewer should know? Interviewer or interviewee? There are data structures and algorithms that everybody should know, like BFS. If you want to apply somewhere, or maybe prefix some binary search, you should know linked lists. There is something that everybody must know. Otherwise, if you get such a problem and you don't know it, it's very bad. Yeah, and I guess that's it. The more you practice, the better will be your chances. Conclusion. Implement power. Calculates that. What? How? With binary search? Implement power with binary search? How? Go to discuss. This is not binary search at all. I don't get it. Valid perfect score. Okay, this is an example of a problem with binary search. Find smallest letter greater than target. Square root. Only the integer part of the result is returned. Okay, so round down. Yeah, that's fine. Discuss. Everybody says that faster than 100%. This is very bad thing in LeetCode, that people focus on that. Solutions should be simple and easy to understand, not faster than 99% of solutions. They should do something with that. How can we find power with binary search? I don't know. But square root is possible to do that. Okay, I will soon be finishing the stream. I did some research. I don't know. The market is so big. There are so many products. I think LeetCode is too overwhelming, and there's no reason for them to have more than 1000 problems. Moreover, I think they hurt people by showing that faster than X% of people. Because of that, people focused on that. It's not good. And some people will buy premium to see what questions were asked by which company. This is also bad. You shouldn't practice by solving old problems asked by your company, because the chances of you getting only problems that already appeared are close to zero. Instead, you should learn the topic. You should understand how to solve problems. During an interview, your skills to solve problems will be judged, not really the fact that you can solve this problem immediately. Even if you struggle with something, but with hints, you show that you know your stuff and you understand hints, you are able to move forward, like move with a problem if somebody helps you. That's a good thing. What do you eat every day? I want to get in shape again. I don't know, food? Eat healthy and I don't know, run or go to gym. I'm not an expert in what to eat in diets. I get strange questions. Okay, that was binary search in LeetCode. I like the fact that they compared some templates. I think people will still be kind of confused what to use. Should I consider something else? Recursion. What is at the start of recursion? Don't all programmers know recursion? The fact that you can run a function from itself means you can apply recursion. Principle of recursion. How can I get six-pack ABS like you? I don't think I have one. You might wonder how we can implement a function that calls itself. This is into subproblems, base case. Print reverse. Put char, okay. It makes sense. So the statement here is print the string in reverse using recursion. What is, take a look at the first letter, and then first write everything to the right, also reversed, and then print this letter. I don't know if it's the best example to explain recursion. LeetCode looks very good. Is it free? Yes, LeetCode is free. And I just said why I don't think it's that good. LeetCode has like 1000 problems for free, plus something extra articles and problems for premium. Write a function that reverses a string, recursion function. Recurrence relation, Pascal's triangle. If you want to print the Pascal triangle, you will not do that with recursion. This is like simple two-dimensional DP. Pascal triangle 2. And now print one row. This is also not a good example. Just print ith value in the j value in the ith row of Pascal triangle would be a good example, in my opinion. Otherwise, you're just showing that with recursion you do a lot of stuff unnecessarily. That's a good introduction for dynamic programming, not for recursion. Memoization, duplicate calculations. I'm sorry, I just came here. I was mostly looking at the design of lessons. Yeah, the lessons. I think it's a good idea to have lessons in this format. But I can't say that this is the best thing online. I'm trying to figure that out. Indeed, lessons look fine, and I think learning from this is more important than the main thing that LeetCode does, so provides a lot of problems. You shouldn't just solve random problems. It's better to learn topics, in my opinion. It has some locked sections, so not always free, but like I agree that reversing string with recursion is like the most unintuitive approach ever. True. Where to learn about time complexity analysis? Just data structures and algorithms are not enough, I think. Yeah, but there are plenty of tutorials online, I guess including LeetCode. Half of those platforms will have some lessons about big O complexity. The Fibonacci numbers. I think Fibonacci numbers are something very good to explain with recursion and memoization, not reversing a string. If somebody told me to reverse a string with recursion, I would be confused, for sure, for a moment. One moment. Hash map, integer, Python. If n in cache, then return cache of n. Yeah. Climbing stairs. Provide the Fibonacci number. You're climbing a staircase, it takes n steps to reach to the top. Each time you can either climb 1 or 2 steps. In how many distinct ways you can climb to the top? This is harder example. I think this is very easy to solve with iterative DP and much harder with recursion, to think about this problem with recursion without realizing that it's Fibonacci numbers. So are you like figuring what is the best platform for coding interviews, or exactly I'm trying to do that? I'm considering that maybe I will do something in the future with teaching people for coding interviews. Like I actually already do privately, but maybe I will create some platform in the future, because just there's money in that, and I'm quite good in algorithms. I want to see what is already there in the market, who does it best. These climbing stairs problems, by the way, I already solved in this stream like 2 hours ago, and this is just Fibonacci. Complexity analysis. So here's time complexity, recursion. Given a recursion algorithm, its time complexity of t is typically the product of the number of recursion invocations and the time complexity of calculation. True? Blah, blah, blah. Execution tree. Memoization. We just discussed the technique of memoization that is often applied to optimize the time complexity of recursion algorithms. By caching and reusing the intermediate results, memoization can greatly reduce the number of recursion calls. This is reducing the number of branches in the execution tree. Now we can simply apply the formula we introduced in the beginning of this chapter to calculate the time complexity, which is that. There are some things, by the way, that are quite different in competitive programming and coding interviews, like memoization. in coding interviews, I would recommend to use maps, or hash maps actually, dictionaries, to remember stuff. Like that we saw a moment ago, that cache of n in Python. While in competitive programming, running time is more important, and if it's enough, then it's better to create an array that will store those computed values. It's even faster to do things iteratively. For easy coding interview problems, I would recommend recursive dynamic programming. So recursion with memoization is recursive dynamic programming. But when we start with harder problems, or when we go to competitive programming, iterative approach is much more important. It's more useful, it's easier. There was a good example showing, I think, this difference between the two possible approaches is Codeforces contest by Marek Sokolowski, where div1b in first division was solved by just a good number of people. Codeforces is lagging. But in second division, the results were terrible because it was dynamic programming problem, and experienced people think in a different way about dynamic programming problems. I think this is my theory. Where is I think it was 556. So here we can see division 1 and division 2. In division 1, problem B was solved by half the people that solved A. In division 2, that same problem, free religions, was solved by 1/10 of people that solved the previous problem. And my theory is that this is dynamic programming, and it's about a difference in thinking about problems, about dynamic programming. This is a huge difference of ratio here and ratio here. So I think for those who want to either be able to solve harder coding interview problems or want to master competitive programming, then they shouldn't focus that much on recursion with memoization. It's sometimes required, but more often you should do DP with iteration. What are the type of problems tailored to coding interviews? I do not understand. For me, studying for coding interviews are just learning about data structures and algorithms and complexity analysis. Yes, it's that, and I'm talking about what data structures and algorithms you should learn. In competitive programming, segment trees are a must. In coding interviews, usually they don't appear. It's something treated as a hard thing in coding interviews. So there you should know your data structures. You should be able to handle hash map, a map. You should be able to sort stuff, compute prefix sums, do some greedy thing, know recursion well, dynamic programming quite well, the easy examples of that. But those topics aren't really the same as topics of easy problems in competitive programming. The focus is a bit different. Also, sometimes problems with const-time memory can appear. Those are quite unique, and you should solve several problems like that. Sometimes maybe there will be some probability question. Not necessarily you will have to implement solution there. It's more like a brain teaser. Okay, maybe better than LeetCode. LeetCode. Which one is better, HackerRank or LeetCode? Tons of questions. LeetCode strengths. Whatever. I'm interested in the quality of tutorials. the 10 best coding challenge websites for 2018. After this stream, by the way, I should make a video. Top 10 most popular blah blah blah. Maybe I should start making those videos just to gain some traction and so that more people would find me. Lots of overlap. I prefer how LeetCode presents the solutions and the Pro version which lets you rank questions by company. And I'm saying that again, I think it's a bad thing. HackerRank words things very confusingly. To me, LeetCode is a lot more intuitive to me. HackerRank is, in my opinion, more similar to competitive programming platforms, and problems more often have some story to them. I'm not sure if it's good to practice efficiently. Sounds like something people in 2019 would watch. Yeah, you'll get tons of views if you make top 10 videos. I think I should do that, especially at the beginning of a year. Before the next January, I should prepare to make a bunch of videos, top 10, insert whatever, in 2020. Top 10 competitive programming websites, top 10 coding interview platforms, top 10 algorithms you need to know to beat tourist. I have no clue what are data structures and algorithms to study if every company asks different types of questions. They don't ask different types of questions. They all ask about something similar. There are very small differences. Maybe one company asks 20% of questions asked by Google is on dynamic programming, and only 18% of questions asked by Facebook is about dynamic programming. There are very small differences. It's that there's a difference between code forces and coding interviews. Top 10 coding languages, top 10 coding jobs, companies. Yeah. So maybe next year. I'm really lazy in terms of doing something that would do well in YouTube, but it would be boring for me. Top 10 best coding challenge websites. CoderByte. Did I? Code Wars. Code Wars, I think, is to learn a language, not to learn an algorithm. Return. A times B. Submit. Sending request. Yay, passed. It's loading for a long time. I don't want to learn C++, I want to learn algorithms. You have passed the initiation. Now learn the real training begins. Oh no. The real training is put your email. I understand, of course, the fact that platforms want you to create an account, but clearly I don't like it if I want to just check something out. Challenges, CoderByte. I don't like the UI. 3 challenges, most popular, maximal square. Step-by-step solution. C++, please. And by the way, I'm using C++ all the time, but I think the most common language is Python. And if I was to make a platform, the main language would be Python, I guess. Have the function blah, take the parameter, determine the area of the largest square submatrix that contains all ones. I know this problem. It's dynamic programming. And there are no constraints. Hard challenges are worth 15 points and you are not timed for them. This is an example of trivial dynamic programming problem for those who know DP well, but something very hard for people that don't. It's, in my opinion, very hard to invent a solution here without a good understanding or a guess. Like, I love the YouTubers that every year make a video. Is it worth to learn blah in 2000 blah? and say the same stuff every year, but get hundreds of thousands of views every year. Yep, you will be able to get at least 100k views in videos that will help your channel. So maybe that's a good thing to do. I'm not planning that in the near future. Okay, the stream was almost 4 hours. I think I'm tired enough. Also, it's hard to talk for 4 hours. Maybe I should make like 5-minute breaks. HackerRank is pretty good, I think. Okay, I didn't check it out today. Maybe HackerRank is also fine. I remember they have both problems and tutorials, but just like some other platforms, they have competitive programming, hard coding interviews. They are not that focused. Okay, that's it for today, guys. Thank you all for watching, for commenting, and we'll see each other next time tomorrow. Make a course. Okay, yeah, I will maybe do that sometime in the future. Okay, see you all, and see you tomorrow. Bye.